is that?
I guess not.
That's how we're gonna do this.
Hello! Hello, welcome to Nico Town! It's our cousin, bro. To the bowling.
That's racist.
The ravioli.
Oh, that game.
Why did he become Italian? And poorly.
Alright.
A pizza pie.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hello and welcome to Shareware, episode 51. I'm Greyson and I'm joined by...
Brett.
And Josh.
Each host brings their own topic and every episode ends with a game club where you all play along. This week's game club is Splinter Cell Blacklist, in which we play through Paraguay Private Estate.
That was hilarious. I love Paraguay. That's so funny. I can understand why you couldn't hold it back.
Are you laughing because it's hard to say Paraguay?
No, I'm laughing at the Italian.
Still laughing at you didn't even laugh when I made the joke, and now it's 2 minutes later and you're dying.
It's like...
What time stamps on each of the segments can be found in the show notes.
Do you want me to take it from the top?
No, I think we just have to live with this. This is actually probably the best introduction we could possibly give to this week's Shareware because I am sick. I've spent the last 12 hours with like a weird cough / body ache / headache / I don't really know what the fuck's going on.
Dick ache.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's just from all the fucking...
What?
No. So yeah, Brett has so graciously given up his topic so we could shorten the episode so I can get back to bed.
Yeah.
That was really nice of you, Brett.
It's definitely not so I can go home and play Nier Automata fucking immediately.
Yep.
Shh.
But I have a topic.
Yeah, Josh, what's your topic?
I'm going to talk about Morphblade.
Okay.
But that's after your topic.
Yeah.
And what is your topic?
We're going to talk about complexity versus simplicity in games and striking a helpful balance.
Maybe I should have stayed in bed.
So,
Alright, walk me into this, Greyson.
let's start with an easy comparison.
Okay.
We'll go with a relatively simple first-person shooter, like a Call of Duty,
I thought you were going to say Red Orchestra, just to be a jackass.
compared to, like, Receiver or Red Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the idea of complexity for novelty's sake or complexity for realism.
Okay.
Or as a substitute for realism.
So, what's your thesis, or are you searching for one? Like, is there a question behind this, or did you just kind of want to hash it out?
So, complexity necessarily adds difficulty for getting into something. It's much harder to get into.
Mm.
But in the world of video games, it gives you way more options in terms of simulating the real world.
Mm. It also begs the question: is the actual meat of the game the process of learning it in the first place? Because I'd say that's the case for a fair amount of things. Like Receiver, just becoming comfortable with like being able to reload something in the middle of the fight and cock your gun and that kind of thing. Like that's the fun of the game. Once you get over that hump, there's not really actually any substance to it.
Yeah. Like the thing is, that's what I like in complex games. I like it when it's about the process of learning. I don't like it when it's like, here's the process of learning, and I don't know, now here's a pain in the ass to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have stuff like Breath of the Wild, which Breath of the Wild just lent me, where there actually is a surprising amount of different systems at play in combat, but they just so elegantly lay them out, be it through like the visual design or like elegant tutorialization, that's not really part of the game. Like there's no part of the game where Breath of the Wild tells you like, hey, you can blow up the weapons rack of the bokoblins so they don't have anything to fight you with. But you can kind of intuit it just because you always see at the start of a fight where they're keeping their equipment and like how they're laying it out.
Yeah, they also don't tell you they can surf on your shield.
I saw that tooltip literally like the second time I loaded a screen.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that till I was 50 hours in.
Oh wow. Yeah, I also know because of people discussing the game that there's a dude somewhere in the world who like he advertises shield surfing to you. So I guess you just did.
Yep, I found him.
Oh, you found
after I
50
learned how
hours.
to do it.
Oh, so even later than 50 hours in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's the
That's one of the last things I did, actually.
that's the double-edged sword of, like, basing your game on, like, elegant delivery is, like, sometimes when you miss any individual component, then you just get shit like that, where it's like, well, I could have been shield surfing this whole time.
Well, yeah, but it's also cool because it's like, okay, I played this game for 60 hours. Here's a new thing that I did not know about that's fun. Like, the game, it's not like the game was not fun until I learned about shield surfing, which is, I think, the reason why I like it so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, the issue is whether or not it's going to be fun. It's just, like, or not fun. It's just, like, there could be circumstances where, like, oh, there was a shrine that I saw, like, in the first few hours of the game where shield surfing would have gotten me this thing that now I need to backtrack to it for no other reason than the game didn't articulate this to me.
No, I'm not so sure that shield surfing ever happens in Shrine.
Yeah, I don't know that it does, but I do know there are some things, probably those, what are those little sprites called? They have the
Koroks.
Yeah, the Korok seeds. I'm pretty sure there's a couple Korok seeds that are hinged on you shield surfing.
Probably. There's like 1,000 of those.
Yeah. What do they even... Okay, I'm getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about this later. We'll talk about
Basically, Breath of the Wild again is my topic this week.
Yes.
And it would actually still work.
Infiltrating Greyson's topic with Breath of the Wild. It's getting meta.
I haven't really gotten to play yet.
You did play 10 minutes, though.
Yeah, you played 10
I was very
minutes.
impressed.
Yeah.
And,
Best game ever?
No. So, if we want to talk about the best game ever,
Oh?
You're going to talk about Dwarf Fortress, aren't you?
Europa Universalis.
Oh, wow. So it's dethroned Dwarf Fortress for you?
Yes. So Dwarf Fortress is one of those games that's complex for the sake of being complex.
No, it's not.
A little bit.
No. He just wants to simulate life completely.
Yeah.
It's not there to be complex. He has a goal in mind.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from. And you're right.
Of course I'm right. I'm always right. Can you remember a single time where I was wrong?
Yes, quite a few. But
Tune in last week on Shareware.
the issue with Dwarf Fortress is Tarn Adams doesn't really take any steps to streamline anything.
Yeah, dude doesn't care. I can respect that.
And for me, the ideal complexity is where you can ignore things, but your game won't be optimal if you don't.
If you do, you mean? If you do
If
ignore.
you do ignore things, yes.
See, that
give
kind of
me-
sounds like most good games.
I mean, he did say it was ideal, so
Yeah.
it
Oh,
checks
that's
out. Like, can you give me an example of what you mean?
So, I'm trying to avoid Europa Universalis examples.
Okay.
But in the same grand strategy realm, Distant Worlds, you can automate every system.
Okay.
And you can just let the game run and it'll automate itself.
And I'm sure you do.
Yep, because that's
Yeah.
how you play Civ.
You're the
Hey,
only
that's
monster
great.
I know that automates their workers.
It's the correct way to play.
Oh, is it?
That's just
Then why do you
tedium.
get your ass kicked every
don't.
single time?
I'm actually pretty sure I've never lost a game of Civilization.
It's because we've never
against
finished
AI.
a game of Civilization.
Against the AI, for sure. Never.
Okay, congratulations. The AI is basically brain dead.
Yeah.
What about against us?
I've never lost.
We never finished.
Yeah, that's... Well, remember when I said that.
No, yeah, I know, but I'm reiterating the
I've
point.
also...
We've never finished a game of Civ, actually.
Yeah.
Dude, we've never finished one.
I've never been on my heels, either.
Yeah, because
But you've
you never
never been
really
on your-
interact.
Yeah, you've never been on your feet in the first place.
Yeah.
Alright, let's...
I mean, points-wise, you usually get crushed.
That's probably because he plays so much Rome, though. Like, he's focusing so much on building up the one city, and you can get so many points just by spamming cities.
Yeah, but isn't the whole point of Rome that you can make other cities by...
Yes, but
You have to
everything built
build-
in Rome gets built cheaper in every other city.
Yeah, so you have to build every building in Rome first, so the early game is all dumping shit into Rome, and then you're basically speeding up the late and mid game.
Okay.
And we don't get into either of those.
Yeah. Man, Civ.
But say, Red Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
There's that nice little level of realism when you reload where your magazine gets saved. It's very comfortable and cozy.
Yeah, and I would say a more, I guess, simplistic example of those kinds of mechanics is something like the active reload in Gears of War, where they added what I guess you could view as a pointless additional input, but it just adds this little extra part of the skill ladder that can bring, like, it can turn the tide of, like, individual fights if you're paying enough attention to that mechanic.
Brett, how do you feel about Red Orchestra?
I hate it.
That's what I thought.
I think it's fucking awful, and I think I got it for free, too.
Have you ever played in the tanks?
Once or twice when I can fucking get into one.
Okay.
I didn't actually know there were tanks in Red Orchestra until you told me, like, 2 weeks ago or something, and I haven't played a ton of Red Orchestra, but I've probably put, like, 15 hours into it.
It's pretty good.
Are they just only on certain maps that we've never played? How the fuck did that happen?
There's usually only, like, 2 tanks per team, and there are
I never even
64
saw
players.
a tank.
I mean, the maps are huge, and there's only, like, 3 or 4 maps that even have tanks.
Okay, I'm guessing for some reason we just never played on maps that have them in the first place.
There's a good chance of that.
I remember a whole lot of that one shitty snow map where you're just, like, prone.
With the apartments?
I remember it being more like
bunkers.
igloos and bunkers and shit.
Yeah, that one doesn't have tanks just because of, like, how hilly it is.
I can imagine that the tank systems in that game are, like, extremely convoluted.
So there are 3 seats in each tank.
Okay.
If one of the tank people gets killed, you have to, like, manually do 2 seats worth of work.
Okay. What is a seat's worth of work? Do they have
So,
different
like,
roles?
there's the driver, the commander/gunner, and the machine gunner, like the Pintle MG.
Okay.
And, so, like, if it's all PTRSs, there's no rockets in Red Orchestra,
Oh.
because it takes place in 1942.
So you have to be really precise with your shots then?
Yes, and you can kill the people in the tank. They just kind of turn into, like, jelly, and then, like, every time you switch seats, you'll have to, like, move that corpse into the seat you were just in.
Like, the thing about Red Orchestra is that it seems to be like the idea behind it is war fucking sucks. But if you were able to live again, like, immediately and go back into war, then the realism of it would make it fun. And I'm like, nah, I poked my head up, I got killed by a guy from 300 feet away. That is not made more interesting by the fact that I can do it again in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I also think there's some merit to the notion of, like, why the fuck not? Like, we get so many dozens and dozens of games that, like, don't even necessarily have reloading, or even if they do, you don't lose what comes out of your magazine. Just, like, extremely streamlined concepts. So, like, you so rarely get a game that even attempts to have realistic weapon mechanics and that kind of thing, and shit like, oh, if you get hit, you will bleed out unless you take time to bandage yourself and that kind of thing. So, like, I appreciate that someone out there went like, okay, let's make at least one game where that shit happens.
I mean, yeah.
That doesn't mean I want to play it, but that does mean some thousands of people do.
Yeah, but why not is basically the thing that I actually think about every single game that's ever been made. So if I said that, that's all I would say on the podcast.
For the hope of including Brett, what is the, like, ideal clicker complexity for you?
Absolutely nothing. There should not be any complexity in a clicker game.
So you don't want upgrades, you just want clicks?
No, I mean, have upgrades and shit. That's all fine. But I've seen
complexity here.
I've seen clicker games that are actually difficult. And that is where I draw the line. I put my foot down and I say, why the fuck are you playing this in the first place? What is the fucking point behind you playing a clicker game if you want it to be a game? Alright? Clicker games are for when you are incredibly depressed and you want to see a number go up to feel good about your pathetic fucking life. Not because you want to play a game. If you want to play a game, go play a fucking game. That's all I gotta say.
About clickers?
Yeah.
So, basically, clickers are work. That's what I do. I go to work and I watch my bank account go up, and I feel a little bit better every 2 weeks.
Man, that sounds like a decent job. I could do that job.
It's alright.
Yeah, I have strong opinions about clickers, but that's because I think people are just stupid about them.
What's your favorite? Is it still...
Derivative clicker.
Okay.
So, I was thinking about that today. Like, just name-wise. Is that just like a derivative of other clickers?
No,
it boiled down to the essentials?
It bases itself off of derivatives.
Like the Wall Street concept?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, like, you have the first level and it makes you 5 cents per second. And then, like, you'll get the second level and it'll make one of the first tier every 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
And that is nice. It's fun. I like to make the math go good. It makes me happy inside.
Sounds fulfilling.
Yeah. It is. Shouldn't be.
I was playing some, like, you know the .io games?
I don't think I do.
Like Slitherio.
Agario, etc.
Yeah.
There was one that was like War. It's like Risk, but it was also a clicker.
Wario?
Oh, God.
I mean, it might have been called that. It was like a territory-holding game, but it also included clicker elements, and I thought, oh, Brett would probably be okay with this.
Yeah, but then you, like, explained it to me, and it's the exact same shit where it's just too complex.
Also, it resets every 20 minutes to an hour, so
Yeah.
why bother with a clicker?
Well, at that point, it's actually a clicker and not an idle game, and I like to just sit there and drink and watch numbers happen.
I haven't thought about Agario in forever. That's a weird, like, byproduct of being on the other end of the spectrum, at least in the case of multiplayer games. Like, if you make a multiplayer game, if you reach a certain threshold of simplicity, it just becomes like a social experiment. Because nobody's playing Agario to have fun. They're playing Agario to, like, show off their skins and their racist name and, like, form weird bonds with other players.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got to first place once with the name Death. And I just ate everyone.
I'm more of a fan of Slitherio, where you're a snake.
I hated that one.
Oh, I prefer it. It's got a lot of complexity.
Exactly.
I never played that one.
Oh, I like it.
What is different in it?
You're a snake.
Yeah.
You're basically playing Snake.
You can
if I
click to
remember right.
move faster.
Okay.
Are
Are you eating other snakes? Is that same kind of...
You want them to run into the side of you.
Okay, so it's like light bike shit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and if they're...
It's like Light Bike plus Snake.
You can get people to circle you, but if you're small enough, you can just, like, wait them out.
Okay.
It's, like, the bigger you are, the wider your turn radius gets.
And the harder you fall?
Yeah. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I think I just figured out I'm okay with complexity in games, but you need to start pretty simple. You either need to start simple, or you need to be so fucking balls complex from the word go. Like, I need to walk into your game and not know what the fuck you're on about.
So is that, like, are you okay with Aurora 4X?
I don't like it in 4X games.
Okay.
I have very, very specific taste in 4X games. Only Civ and Galactic Civilizations has managed to hit that for me.
So, if Europa Universalis introduced one mechanic at a time, like, throughout the course of a game...
I mean, I understand Europa Universalis. Like, I've played it enough that I understand what goes on in it. I just don't really find it fun because I don't know the history.
I see.
Like a lot of people play that game and go like, oh, there's all this alternate history stuff going on in it. Like, oh man, the Tetons are the kings of God Earth. And I'm like...
I don't
the
know.
orange ones are...
None of those words made any sense.
Wait,
but
The orange ones are bigger than everyone else.
Greyson, the Tetons aren't the kings of God Earth? Is that what you're saying?
I
blowing my
don't...
fucking
You
mind.
must have played a shitty version of EU4.
Yeah. He played EU4.
There's like awful mods out there that are like, this is the alternate history I wrote where everyone's Prussian.
Have you seen the one for, I think it was EU3? It was called Stepwolf or something, and I think it made Turkey, like, insanely overpowered. They were just so much better, and it made Europa Universalis go into, like, the 1960s.
Do they do any, like, fictional mods for that? Like, can you get, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of little, like, there's a Game of Thrones one, and that it came out recently.
Okay.
Is that a mod or a DLC?
It's a mod.
Okay.
It's
no
like
DLC.
an off-play of the Crusader Kings Game of Thrones thing going on.
Okay.
And it's got, like, Middle-earth continent.
Okay. So, Brett, what is one of those games that you're talking about where, like, the moment it started, you were completely lost and it hooked you?
I wouldn't say that it hooked me, but these kind of games I'm talking about are, like, basically anything from Ice Pick Lodge. Like Pathologic and The Void.
Oh, okay.
Like, those ones start out in such... Like, their complexity is a direct challenge to your fucking face. Like, they aren't saying, like, oh, well, you know, maybe it's just not your kind of thing, you know, maybe you're not the guy who plays this. They're like, fuck you, you don't know shit, fuck off, go die. And then, like, I like that a lot. You know?
The Void?
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
You can basically fuck everything up from the beginning in a way that you won't notice until you're at the end.
Is that a Russian game?
It's Ice Pick Lodge, yeah.
Okay. I think I have that in Steam, and I tried it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I like. You know, I like my games, like, if they're complex, I want it to be complex and, like, they're spitting in my face, basically.
So you don't want it to feel...
I don't want to feel like I don't get it. I want to feel like I'm made to not get it.
Like, you don't want it to feel like University, you want it to feel like Fight Club?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I just want the game to punch me in the fucking face and go, what?
Huh.
Go read the wiki.
Oh, I never read the wiki.
Oh, that's so hardcore.
Is that why you like RimWorld?
Yeah, there's a part of it. I mean, it's also a Dwarf Fortress that I can actually parse.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about RimWorld. It's kind of surpassed Dwarf Fortress for me, at least for that fix.
Yeah, because
It's so
easier.
accessible compared to Dwarf Fortress.
How much of that do you think is attributable to the fact that Dwarf Fortress keeps getting patches, like, and you have to relearn rule sets and that kind of thing? Like, is that a factor for you, or is it more just that...
For me, I never want to play Dwarf Fortress because anytime I look to pick it back up again, I look at the patch notes and it's like, oh, but in the next update in however many years, there's going to be this stuff, so why play now?
Oh, so it's almost kind of the opposite of you wanting to keep waiting for more and more new stuff.
Yeah, even though that man will die before he finishes.
Dwarf Fortress has gotten fucking crazy. It procedurally generates entire mythologies now, and you can, like, look
magic,
at each one.
like procedurally generated spells and
fuck.
magical systems.
Jesus.
Yeah, like, Dwarf Fortress is extremely impressive. But it also doesn't really feel like a game to me. Like, as a game, it's actually extremely easy to quote-unquote solve Dwarf Fortress. Where, like, if you just don't have any ambitions, you're not going to have a hard time.
That's true. Like, you can just seal up your fort and it can self-sustain.
Yeah, and that's basically what I always did. And, like, other people, like, I just don't do that with games. I do not make my own fun.
Mm.
Like, I take what the game gives to me and I just, like, beat it with a club. I'm like the caveman of gaming. Like, there's gotta be something given to me to do, and then, like, after a long time, like Breath of the Wild, I was starting to get a little freaky with it near the end, because it had given me so much, you know, just regular fun that I wanted to have more of my own accord.
So, did you just, like, have no soul when playing, like, Red Faction Guerrilla? Or...
I mean, Red Faction Guerrilla, yeah, but, like, that's not making your own fun. Like, they put that shit in front of you for you to blow it the fuck up. Like, you can't, like, stack... Like, what I'm getting at is I would never, like, stack up my own things in it and then break it.
You're not the type who, playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, you get, like, 100 cars into a pile and then shoot them with a rocket launcher?
No.
I think it's just a matter of, like, there are fewer steps between, like, the bare minimum of effort you can apply in Red Faction Guerrilla and the most you could possibly squeeze out of it, as compared to something like Minecraft, where, like, if you literally just want to, like, walk in a straight line and hit pigs and keep eating, you could do that forever in Minecraft if you, like, are empty inside.
Yeah.
But you could also, like, build a fucking 3D printer.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, I'm never the type that does the 3D printer. I'm not the guy who just kills pigs either. Like, I'll make a house, but it'll always be fairly small, and it'll just be for, like, form stuff. And then I'll go down into the mines, and I will mine, and then get bored and do something else.
Yeah, I always found the spot where I lost my motivation is when I clear out the first naturally generated mine that I find. And it's just like, well, I could just, like, pick up and do this all over again in another spot, or, like, build something pretty, but I don't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's where my motivation usually ends, too. Which is why I like games like Drakengard, which just serve up the action a mile a minute.
Oh, God. Should we talk about that right now, do you think?
Let's give him a taster for now and then come back to it.
Okay.
An omen.
Yeah.
Did you have any last thoughts?
No,
Greyson?
I don't.
All right.
We came to the exact conclusion I thought. It's ambiguous.
Maybe both sides are right.
Maybe the truth is somewhere in Brett's head.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, no.
I have a game that strikes a pretty solid balance between complexity and simplicity that I've been playing a little bit for the last week.
Dwarf Fortress 2.
Yes. Infinite.
You know, Dwarf Fortress is already the 2 in that series.
What was the first one?
It's...
Oh, right. Wasn't it just adventure mode?
Yeah, it's like a simpler version of adventure mode. It's like Armok, God of Blood 2, Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, that's funny. They just kind of dropped the first 3/4 of the name because it's not really important anymore.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty cool.
There are a few more, like, stanzas in that name that I'm missing. Like, there's 4 colons.
That's like Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces, or Star Wars Dark Forces Jedi Knight. Like, you don't see a lot of that where one series turns into another over the course of it.
Star Wars Dark Forces Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
I mean, they could have if they really felt like not having any room on the cover art for actual pictures. But yeah, I've been playing Morphblade, which is a recent release by the guy who made Gunpoint. It's kind of like a palate cleanser title that he knocked out in the midst of working on what is it called? Heat Signature, which is kind of this. It's a really ambitious top-down bounty hunting game in space. And that's taking like 3 years to make. So he's like, okay, well, I'll just quick knock out this like tiny $5 like pseudo mobile game. Although it's not actually on phones. It just feels like it totally belongs there. And I will rebuy this game if you put it on phones. But Morphblade is basically Checkers Horde mode with Transistor's skill build system. And I know what you're thinking. We see this all the time. It's so cliche. Like, can we not move out of this rut?
I mean, but this doesn't sound complex so far. It just sounds like your garden variety bullshit.
Yeah, but hear me out. The production quality on this Checkers Horde mode with Transistor skill system is pretty good.
The Checker Horde mode with Transistor skill system, like?
Yeah. I'm too out of it to make that into an acronym off the top of my head, so I'll let somebody else do
So
it.
Checkers is in the board game, right?
Yes. So basically, Morphblade is a game where you play the titular Morphblade, which is basically just this little icon. The art style of this game is super minimalist. You're on this hex grid, and you're killing bugs.
Okay.
It's turn-based game.
Computer bugs or real bugs?
That's a good question. There's not enough fidelity in the art style for me to answer that. It just calls them bugs, so...
Brett just asking all that hard questions.
Yeah.
So is this Ender's Game?
Ender's Game 2.
I mean, this would be an interesting way for them to represent Ender's Game simulations in the movie. I never actually saw the movie, so I don't remember how they did that.
Yeah, neither did I.
I heard that was, like, okay. Not great, but decent.
I remember, like, the last thing I really remember of it was a discussion on GameFAQs where we were talking about how that movie could work, and everyone was just like, how are they going to have naked boys?
So, listening to the Ender's Game books at work,
Yeah.
there's a lot, every book ends and begins with a postscript and prescript by Orson Scott Card.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people are always like, why don't you make a movie? And he talks about that, and he's like, I don't make a movie because no one gives me enough control over it. They always want to make it into like some teen movie with a romance, and that's not what Ender's Game is about. The actor has to be 6.
Yeah, that's valid. I appreciate that conviction, if not his homophobia.
I don't know if that actually got in the movie.
The thing that really bothers me about Orson Scott Card, strangely enough, it's not the homophobia. It's that everything else about him seems just generally amiable and, like, really wise. Like, I was reading his prescript for Speaker of the Dead, and it was all just very, like, I was reading it and I'm just like, this guy seems like a really nice dude. And then I had to, like, keep reminding myself that he fucking hates gay people.
Mm-hmm.
It made it...
He's too likable for how black his soul is?
Yeah, kind of. Like, it really fucks with me, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, this guy totally understands what writing things is like, and he hates gays.
Well, the other thing is, like, going through the Speaker of the Dead and Xenocide and Children of the Mind, everything about those would, like, point to him being a very accepting person.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, it doesn't make any fucking sense. They're very philosophically sound books.
Yeah, it's just like, we have to be kind to each other, we have to understand each other, even when it's difficult. But the gay people are an aberration of human existence.
Yeah, well, we have to understand people, not monsters.
Exactly.
Yeah, fun Orson Scott Card tangent. So yeah, Morphblade, hex grid, you're killing bugs. The way you do it depends on what sort of tile you're on. And there are 6 types of tiles in the game. 3 of them are attack, arrow, hammer, and blade, which each of which has like different movement rules. So I guess maybe chess is a little bit more appropriate.
Cheskers.
Yeah, it's Cheskers.
Sounds like a really good cat name.
Yeah, it's Cheskers horde mode with I almost said Hyper Light Drifter's skill system. And then there's 3 defense tiles. Acid, which removes armor from enemies. Heal, pretty self-explanatory. And teleport. Basically, you are building the tile, or the hex grid out between waves and picking which tiles are going to be in which spot. And just trying to slay these waves of, like, different patterns of insects, which each have their own, like, movement, AI and that kind of thing, or different attack patterns. But the where the complexity comes in is that every hex that you either kill something from, if it's an attack hex, or kill something on, if it's a defense hex, every 6 times you then upgrade that hex, and the upgrades are based on the adjacent hexes. So, like, if you are on a hammer tile, which kills one adjacent unit without moving you, you get 6 kills from that hammer tile, and you earn an upgrade. And there's an adjacent medic tile. You can select the medic tile as your upgrade option, and then every time you kill somebody from the hammer tile, you heal yourself.
Okay.
Or, for example, you kill 6 enemies on a teleport tile, and there's a hammer tile adjacent to it, and you pick that. Now every time you teleport somewhere, the place that you land knocks back all adjacent bugs 1 tile.
Huh.
So that's kind of where that transistor comparison comes in, is like every one of the tiles has a unique interaction interlocking with all of the adjacent ones. And if you're good enough, you could get 1 tile to have the upgrades of all 6 of the adjacent ones. So if you had, like, the starting tile is always hammer, and if you had a hammer that had a hammer, arrow, blade, acid, heal, and teleport around it, and you killed 36 bugs on that tile, then you would just have all of the different facets of those tiles. Yeah. It basically becomes like a King of the Hill situation where, like, that tile is uber powerful. But that's
now
not
you're
always
fucked if you get knocked off it.
Exactly, which if there's a pusher bug, then that's a pretty likely situation, because those shove you back 1 tile from the direction they're shoving. So basically the strategy is not just in where you place your tiles, but where you're killing enemies to distribute the upgrades along that. And it's really great for just, like, hopping in and getting, like, 5 to 10 minute, like, fun strategic session.
So is this a puzzle game or a strategy game? Are there ideal solutions to the levels?
It's a Struzzle Cheskers-like with transistor skill set. Like.
Yeah. I would probably put it a little bit more in the puzzle category, just because, like, to me this is kind of in the same category as something like Threes, or 2048 if you have no soul, because the the wave composition and what your options are for building out the map are randomly generated each time. So, like, the difficulty of the waves is always pretty much the same, but it's no round is ever going to be exactly identical to one another. So you can't really perfect your execution of it. You can just get better at the general strategy to where you're consistently hitting higher waves. And I've so far not gotten past wave like 25 or so, which is only like a 7-minute round or something. So I'm kind of curious how far the game conceivably goes, because there is like a limit to the hex grid. It looks like there's only inevitably like 30 or so tiles in the whole thing. Like you can see the whole map from the beginning of the game. It's just basically the way it works is on turn 1, there are 2 tiles, and it's just you and a bug in the other tile, and you kill that one. And then the 5 adjacent tiles that don't exist yet then have like the shroud of the different tile types, and you walk onto one to like lock that in. And those are all random. So like the 5 tiles could be like 2 arrows, a heel, and a hammer. Or it could be all different ones and that kind of thing. So you're basically choosing which tile you add to the map's layout to choose which type of tile you're picking.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like it's a good example of game design where like every interaction has multiple consequences that are interacting with like completely different systems, be it the upgrades or the map building or the combat. And it's you can immediately understand the rule set within the first minute of looking at it, because there are only these 6 interactions. Like, you'll discover different enemy types as you get in later, but that's just like adding in little wrinkles as you get on there. It's never like, you're not going to get to a threshold where suddenly it's like, oh, I need to like read up on rule sets and stuff. Super intuitive.
So is the attacking stuff on here, is it kind of like a roguelike where you want to time where you're going, or do you have like health points? Or?
You can only get hit twice. The second hit will kill you. Unless you have a heal tile that's upgraded with an adjacent heal tile, which stepping on it gives you a shield. So then you have 3 hit points.
That's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, it does work in a roguelike fashion where basically the moves are like pseudo-simultaneous. Like your action occurs and then immediately after all the bug's actions occurs, which can create some fun interactions where like you will like get shoved. You'll attack one bug. Another bug shoves you and pushes you into the line of sight of a laser bug that wouldn't have normally been able to hit you, and then it shoots you and kills you because you've gotten hit twice in that turn.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So you've got to kind of like run the mental process of what every unit on the screen is going to do when you click one of the 6 tiles.
So, do you become the Titans of God Earth by the end of this, or?
Well, I mean, like, technically it's kind of like a cyclical lore, so you were the Titans of God Earth, and then you've resurrected 100 years later. And you talk to some old dude who's actually the king, and he's like, hey, Titans of God Earth, you gotta kill the bugs if you want to be that again.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Man.
But yeah, good game. It's $5. I've only put in a couple hours so far, but I see it being something in the kind of vein of like Reigns, where I like hop back in for 20 minutes over the next week or so and then get bored of it and then move on, which is probably exactly what the designer intended, because this, like I said, it was like a palate cleanser project for him while he wraps up his big one. So yeah, I'm always happy when I get little titles like this. Like, not little in like the 10 to 15 indie space, but something that like literally you could spend just a couple hours with and be satisfied.
Well, we're talking about palate cleansers, we're talking about great games. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to give a shout out to some games that might be really bad.
You're gonna cross the aisle.
We're crossing the aisle now. I'm not doing a topic because the only games I played this week were Breath of the Wild and Drakengard.
You're doing a public service announcement.
Yep. And so basically what's going on is we now have our own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ShareWarePod, and we're going to do something to kind of inaugurate it. We are going to play through Drakengard.
So it's already tainted.
It's already really bad.
We're definitely going to delete this channel as soon as we finish the series.
That's going to be real bad.
But we won't do that for, 14 more weeks?
Yeah, 14 more weeks. We're going to do... Did we decide on 1 chapter a week? Or
I think that's where we landed. Maybe we'll play it by ear.
We did one verse a week. Make it last years.
Oh, God.
We gotta have that startup mentality. We gotta be agile, If we decide we want to play 3 chapters in a week, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I mean...
If we, have way more vodka than last time.
Oh, we're gonna have a lot of vodka. I'm planning on making a Drakengard stash for us. I'm gonna buy, 4 175s. It's just the cheapest fucking shit I can find.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So basically, this is all just my plan to get Josh to drink vodka by subjecting him to something worse first.
Yeah.
I don't understand you.
Greyson's smiling as if to say, like, this sounds awful, but I don't have to partake. That's not necessarily true, Greyson. We decided we might be phasing people in and out of this, so you might find yourself
But
in the
I don't
middle
like
of
vodka.
Well, I don't like Drakengard, and yet here we are.
I enjoy parts of Drakengard.
Yes, Brett is in part an awful person.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
And if you join us, you too might be an awful person one day.
Now, if I recall from the beginning of the Nier series, one of the characters in Drakengard is a pedophile of some kind.
Yep.
What's up with that?
No, we haven't met him yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it the dragon?
No.
Okay.
Why? How would a dragon be a pedophile?
They live for
relatively
thousands of
speaking,
years.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Why would the dragon fuck anyone?
Why would the dragon fuck everyone? It's a dragon. No one's going to stop him.
The dragon only has one special move.
Missionary?
No, the one where he shoots fire in the air. Ah.
Yeah.
And then you do that like
For
20 times. You can't have a second special move like fucking people in the ass or whatever.
Yeah. Wait, can you not bring up the weapon wheel? What does the weapon wheel button do when you're playing with the dragon?
It changes your targeting.
Oh. Alright, well, let's call it a wrap, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be something we're doing. If you don't know, Drakengard is in the same chronology as Nier. There's a lot of weird shit. If you're looking for an actually good Drakengard experience, go to lparchive.com or .org and check out the Drakengard LP by The Dark Id. It's a screenshot Let's Play, barely goes into the gameplay at all, only has a story, and it is the sensible way to experience this.
So it's the ideal way to experience bad games?
Yes. And this isn't it, but if you want to watch, then you can.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Greyson's cooking up some good material to balance out this monstrosity.
Got the hot takes.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it in coming weeks. But until then, we have our Splinter Cell Blacklist Game Club to get to. So we'll be right back after the break.
Boop, 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 boop.
Boom. Welcome back to Shareware Podcast. We're gonna start our little game club here about Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Starting our little club, Greyson?
We play through the Paraguay estate.
You boys have fun at your little game club.
I can do a game club. I want to do a game club.
Welcome to the Game Club.
Welcome to the game club.
Is that... Did we just exhaust your capacity for speech for the rest of the segment?
Well, I guess we'll just soldier
I have
on.
no idea what I'm supposed to say.
Just say the right
Alright,
things.
Grayson, why did you pick Splinter Cell Blacklist to play?
Wait, I picked this?
Yes. Oh my fucking god. Well, I see this one's going off to a rollicking fucking start.
Grayson, me being sick as an excuse doesn't cover you as well.
He got us all sick, so now we're all fucking stupid.
We coughed all of our brains out. Alright. I guess I'll start things, even
So,
though
Josh, why did you pick Splinter Cell Blacklist?
I apparently picked Splinter Cell Blacklist because I've never played a Splinter Cell game before and have no context for the series. So I actually would like a little bit of background, because I'm getting a vibe that this leads in directly from the last one, Conviction. Is that true?
Yeah,
Yes.
the guy that you pick up from Iran or whatever, he's the villain of the last game.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Coben?
Yeah.
And that's Libya.
Adam Jensen.
Yeah, Adam Jensen. He's the dude from the last... Is that Adam Jensen's voice actor?
It's totally Adam Jensen, 100%. Yeah. He's not even doing a different voice. It's just... Because that's just his voice. He doesn't act, he just voices.
I remember seeing him in a stream, and he's just like, yeah, I'm Adam Jensen. Sounded exactly like
That sounds enthralling.
So, yeah, in the last one, the vice president tried to kill the president, who is this Hillary Clinton-looking lady.
Okay.
And
She looks a little younger than Hillary Clinton.
Andre Coben tricked you into thinking your daughter was dead.
I do remember that coming up, because there is a great line where he mentions that, and then Charlie goes, "Whoa, how is he even still alive?" And then Sam just goes, "Good question."
Yeah, Sam got, like, plastic surgery in this game.
Like in Conviction, he looks like fucking Walter White, basically.
Yeah, he was, like, dad mode, kinda cool looking.
Yeah, and here he looks exactly like Isaac Clarke from Dead Space.
Oh, you see, that is a better comparison. I was going to compare him to Shepard from Mass Effect.
I could see it a little bit, but yeah, he's 100% got the, like, sad middle-aged man look of Isaac Clarke, which Isaac Clarke is actually, like, in his early 30s, but he ages about 15 years over the course of the first game from psychological trauma, so he just has deep bags under his eyes and wrinkles and gray hair.
Yeah.
So,
Before Sam was, like, good-looking, older 40s man. Now he's just, like...
now he looks younger. He looks younger than he did in
younger,
the
but his
first one.
hair looks older.
Yeah, he's got a dignified gray to him. I think he looks good. He just had, like, I mean, he looks sufficiently gruff for his role as
He's
the
just-
hard ass.
I don't know, like, compared to how he looked in Splinter Cell 1, he looks younger. Like, and that bothers me.
Yeah, you should download Conviction and just play the opening and you'll be like, whoa.
Huh. That's weird, because he's had a lot of different renditions. That's been the one thing, just from my cursory knowledge of the series, that has always stood out to me. Like, I didn't expect any continuity at the beginning of this game coming from the last one, because I just assumed it was an anthology. Because, like, I think it's like the second Splinter Cell, he's like a bald, pale dude. He kind of looks like a skinhead, and like...
No, that's Double Agent.
Yeah. Oh, is
The
that
second one is Pandora Tomorrow. There's the main trilogy, or I guess just the first trilogy, which is it's just Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Cell Pandora Tomorrow, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, arguably the best one. Cool for playing that. And then there's Double Agent, and that kind of sets off this new one, I think.
Conviction?
This new trilogy,
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, okay, so Double Agent is part of this series?
Maybe, I'm not 100% on that, but Double Agent was definitely the switch in tone.
Okay, at any rate, there are really only, as far as I remember, only the first handful he has any similarity in appearance between games, and after that it just kind of looks like they switched out different white guy archetypes.
Yeah.
So it's made it a little...
Well, Conviction, he looked kind of like Double Agent Sam.
Okay.
Yeah. Grimm has also changed a
Grimm.
lot since Conviction.
Yeah.
She's always been an attractive redheaded woman, but it changes.
Oh, Grimm is a recurring character outside
Yeah.
of just the last two games?
Charlie is brand new. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, Charlie just looks like...
He looks like Mark
college kid.
Zuckerberg.
Charlie, to me, reminds me a lot of... what is his name? I had it down in my notes somewhere.
Jesse Eisenberg or Michael Cera.
No, he appears a lot in Joss Whedon stuff. Have either of you ever seen Dollhouse?
No.
No.
Okay, well, you've seen Cabin in the Woods, right? You know the stoner character in that one?
Yes.
That actor, he plays a tech guy in Dollhouse, which is another Joss Whedon project, and he's basically just like the wry, smarmy, nerdy dude, but he's not like a complete social loser, he's just kind of a jackass. He basically feels like the same character as Charlie to me, which isn't a bad thing. I kind of like Charlie. Like, I mean, he's unlikable, but intentionally.
He's the relatable man, too.
Yeah, and he's also a really clever, like, storytelling mechanism, because I don't really, like, I can tell there's stuff I don't know, but it's never really impairing my understanding of what's going on in this game, because Charlie is there to ask questions when I need him to.
Do you want to know the biggest thing you don't know?
Please.
Every other game has been involved with third echelon.
Yeah.
And it's like the top secret government thing ever. But now we're fourth echelon,
That's
bro.
because in Conviction, Third Echelon tried to kill the president.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that. I think they mentioned something to that. Well, the president bit I didn't actually know, but I remember them mentioning third echelon at some point, and like fourth echelon is the replacement. I wasn't sure if there were first and seconds earlier in the series, and they're just like going through all the echelons, but
Yeah. I don't know, it just seems so stupid to have Sam be the leader guy. Like, he's always just been the wet work dude.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the gameplay styles before we get into the story?
Yeah, that's probably a decent place to start, because that's kind of like the hook of this game relative to everything else in the series, as far as I understand it, right? Because last game is where they introduced, or is it Conviction is the previous one?
Yeah.
That's where they introduced Mark and Execute, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of visual motif of the text on the walls.
Text on the walls, I don't think Double Agent did that.
And which that's also in this game, but it seems like to kind of a minimal extent. Yeah,
they don't lean on it so much.
I liked Conviction's use of it. Made it feel very cinematic.
Yeah, I think it's stylish. They could stand to do it more, but they have no complaints with the...
I think it's like a 24 vibe.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, there's definitely... I haven't watched much 24, but just my general understanding of the severity of the tone. This feels similar to 24, of just like a lot of pounding bass in minimalist electronic music as everyone's like staring really sternly and trying to make a hard judgment call.
Yeah.
Because everyone's gonna die.
So the three playstyles are like
It's
Predator,
Ghost, and I think Warrior or something.
Yeah.
It's Assault, Ghost, and Jaguar or
Panther.
Yeah. Which I've never seen a game explicitly break out play styles this way, but this actually is kind of the most logical way of distilling the ways people generally play stealth games in my mind, because you have the people who save scum incessantly and don't want to be seen ever. You have the people that don't play them like stealth games, which sometimes is me. But this time I'm going for that middle path, where it's basically stealth lethal.
Yeah, I really don't like this.
I hate it too, because you get the most points for Ghost, which...
Well,
like, playing through the game and knowing a bit about Sam Fisher, Panther is the Sam Fisher attitude.
Yeah.
It's not like he was never there when you...
Okay, yeah.
It's like the vibe you get from him.
That makes sense.
I mean, the problem I have with this game is that, especially coming fresh off Breath of the Wild, it is so fucking rote. Alright? Like, it's always just like, oh, here's the front door. Do you go down the front door, or do you walk 5 feet to the left, and there is wall you climb over, or there is vent you go into, and that is stealth route, and then you go there and you win.
Yeah.
It feels so fucking brain dead to me.
I've been playing full stealth. I haven't gotten to use the mark and execute. I'm a little unhappy. I'm also playing the realistic difficulty.
I'm playing realistic as well, because I wanted to give myself more justification for not playing Assault, because it seems like it would be boring.
Yeah, I might switch over to realistic too, then.
Yeah, I was going to ask what difficulty you're on, because it's not necessarily not rote, but I'm definitely not having a trivial time getting through this game.
I already beat this game once.
Yeah,
is the thing.
That's fair.
So, I'm not saying like, oh, this game's fucking awful. It's just that whenever I look at a room, I just know what I'm supposed to do and I do it.
That is not the case for me, so I guess me being worse at this game is making me enjoy it more than you, so I guess I'm grateful for my incompetence.
I feel like they really nailed the sonar goggles. Like, when you have them on, you know where the guys are, but you have no idea what the layout of the rooms is.
Yeah, I actually, when I first put them on, I like immediately walked into a wall, because I was like completely disoriented. There's like an overwhelming breadth of gadgets in this game. Like, yeah. This game makes an awful first impression to me as a newcomer, but an amazing second impression, because I basically, like, you have that, like, very quick intro sequence at the military base, where, like, you're literally railroaded for the first 2/3 of it. Like, you can't even turn. You're just walking forward and moving cover to cover. But after that, it gets into, like, you forming 4th echelon, and you're in your plane or whatever, and there are so many menus. There's the upgrades for the ship. There's the upgrades for the gear. There's buying different gear. You unlock different gear based on, like, a relationship with different people. And, like, every character has a different menu based on, like, talk to this person if you want to see your unlocks, and talk to this person if you want to see, like, your mission completion and stuff. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, it's a whole lot of menus for not a whole lot of shit. Really?
Yeah, they managed to make what are actually not that convoluted of systems, they managed to make them feel really overwhelming.
It's kind of Mass Effect-y, where you have to walk around the plane to get things done.
Yeah, it is. It does have a Normandy vibe to it, which, like, it's cool, but it's also like, okay, if I want to talk to Charlie, it literally takes me like 2 minutes because the walk speed is so slow in the plane, and he's upstairs on the far end.
Yeah.
It's cool exactly twice.
Yeah.
When you have to do it.
Like, I would almost rather there be a menu where you're picking who you talk to, and it just does like a snappy cut, like it's in a TV show of him like walking, and then second of B-roll of his feet, and then it cuts to the person.
Yeah, that actually sounds perfect.
But they kind of took it upon themselves to get, I don't know, it's like weirdly diegetic. Like, they had to come up with some logic for why you're looking at every menu. It's like, well, we don't just want there to be a screen where it says how many points you got on every mission. We want you to talk to what's his name because he's like the ops manager, so he would have these records.
Yeah. You have said diegetic like 10 or 15 times in the last week that I've been seeing you. What does that mean? Diegetic
means it's within the continuity of the game. So, like, Dead Space 2, or Dead Space as a whole, has diegetic HUD, because Isaac Clarke actually sees it, and that kind of thing.
Alright.
Have you guys been playing the Gone Dark missions? They're the orange things in the SMI. Between missions.
Oh, it says like a metagame on them?
Yeah.
Yo, I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I haven't done
So, it gives you like read the little prompt, like, yeah, this guy's been in Club Penguin. The phone number for the club's got a 006 area code.
Club Penguin?
Does it actually say that?
It's like Club King Penguin.
Okay, this guy's been farming gold in RuneScape. You gotta take him down.
So, like, then you have to find out, you either use your knowledge of geography, or you just Google, hey, 006 area code. And then you move your mouse to that place on the SMI, and the next step pops up.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then you'll get like $30,000 if you complete like all 6 steps of that between each mission.
That's kind of cool.
That's another thing. They wanted to get like lore realistic with the money counts you're dealing with, which on one hand, it's like, okay, sure, that makes sense. On the other hand, like, I can't keep track of how many zeros I'm seeing all the time, and it makes it ridiculously overwhelming to, like, weigh different purchases, because it's like, am I spending $500,000 on this SMG? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, like, they should have just done, like, the XCOM thing and just, like, credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, you have a direct line to the president. I think maybe you should just be able to get one copy of a gun.
Well, that's one thing that...
Mr. President, can I get a gun? Do you have $500,000? No.
That's one thing, though, that, like, I hope they continue to elaborate on as we get later into the game, because I think it's an interesting angle to look at all this stuff from. They gradually touch on, like, oh, if we're, like, calling these certain shots and stuff, we're going to lose cachet with other branches of the military and the government, that kind of thing. So it's like, yes, they have a direct line to the president, but they're also, their leash isn't necessarily that long, or at least, like,
they can only get a plane that has state-of-the-art equipment and can fly all the time forever. They can't get a gun.
Well, I mean, maybe they spent all their money on that plane and they couldn't afford the guns. But, like, I hope that comes up more of, like, Sam being, like, a headstrong dickhead and, like, disenfranchising the group from the rest of the U.S. government.
You'd
Like,
think you could just, like, get Isaac to... His name's Isaac, right?
That's the
Briggs.
confusing part.
Briggs.
Yeah.
Briggs to fill out an expense report for things.
Yeah, Isaac Briggs is the guy who does the, like,
Ops.
exfiltration and stuff, right?
Yeah,
he's
it's
a
like your
support guy.
buddy that you never
I
trust.
think they call him Ops.
Yes, they do. I like him okay so far, although they kind of butt heads a little bit now and again, where he, like, doesn't feel like Sam's giving him enough authority and stuff like that, or, like, cutting him out of the loop.
The thing I found weird was that when they're like, you're not going to kill him, right? With that whatever guy, Coben. And, like, Sam was just being, like, really fucking, like,
That's what, I don't think that happened, Brett. I'm sorry, but
like, they kept going, like, are you going to kill him? And he just kept avoiding the question.
yeah.
And then he didn't kill him, and I'm like,
you say so.
He does make him walk on some broken glass, though.
Yeah, Sam is very, like, Jack Bauer, not shy from torture.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, in the first game, he was just like, I'm sneaky, man.
In Conviction, it was like, I'm gonna break urinals with this guy's head to get the answers I want.
Jesus.
Yeah, basically, Double Agent, Conviction, and now Blacklist are Sam's descent from being just like, I'm just an agent, to fuck you.
Please tell me I could spend $5 million on a urinal melee weapon.
So if you play Conviction, like, there are, like, 6 torture scenes through the game where you're just like, you have people by the collar and waist, and it's just like, hey,
what are you
crush
gonna
this
do?
guy with a piano.
It's funny you bring up him sparing him, because then they also have these player choice scenes that come up occasionally where you can kill or not kill.
But then people end up dead anyway.
Does that always happen? Because
So,
the first one, if you don't kill him, he shoots himself.
Yeah.
My 6
Yeah.
Which I didn't want to kill him because I figured, like, oh, he seems like he might be useful. Like, my rationale was the same reason why Sam didn't kill Coben, because if we killed Coben, then we just wasted our fucking time.
Yeah.
And, like, we have 0 leads. But this other guy in the water plant is just, like, some random lackey. Like, who gives a fuck? He has no information, or he just gave it all to me.
Yeah. I let him live.
Okay, but does he die?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't gone that far. I've only ever...
I don't think that guy's fake.
In the final chapter, he pops back, you spared me, and this will be your downfall.
It's like the
Vision."
dog from Resident Evil 4. Like,
What?
if you save a dog in Resident Evil 4, it'll come back, like, 3 or 4 hours later and fight a giant with you.
Oh, yeah!
That makes you so happy to remember.
That game was so good.
I never beat it, and I honestly didn't like it much.
Oh, beating it and unlocking Mercenaries mode was great.
I don't know. The game never hit well with me.
Alright, back on topic.
Yeah, sorry, you were trying to say something about the kill or don't kill scenes that I was talking
I have no idea
Okay.
how those play out, because I've never beaten the game.
Okay.
I've beaten the game. I guess I won't say anything, but...
Okay. My guess is they don't matter at all. Like,
Probably.
You might be right.
Okay.
The water plant
It
guys...
seemed kind of inappropriate, honestly. Like, it
Yeah,
just
it's
feels
like-
like, hey, it's a video game. Players like to pick things.
Is your Sam a killer.
Or 98% a killer.
Yeah, exactly.
So the game starts out with an attack on like Guam,
Yeah.
and Sam is like doing routine stuff, and he's with his buddy Victor from previous games.
Yeah, Victor is the one element where I feel more out of the loop than anything, just
I don't
because
remember Victor.
He's just like your bud.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's like.
He just gives you like a finger knife, and he's like, "Well, if you need it," and it's like, man, you already know some shit's just gonna explode.
Yeah, it doesn't end up mattering because this martyr of the engineers, who are the terrorist force we're fighting against, ends up blowing him to bits. So he's just on his deathbed for this whole game.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go to Libya to figure out who gave the weapons to the engineers.
Yeah, this is like a big breadcrumb trail so far. Like, this is my main complaint with the game so far. I'm liking the gameplay, like I said. I think the 3 playstyle thing is an interesting presentation, mainly just because I like that they frame it in the context of, like, you get rewarded for reaching that score threshold with any one strategy. So if you are the type who wants to replay levels, this gives you a reason to do so and not have it be the same thing every time. Like, they specifically say, like, play this level on Ghost and then come back and play it on Panther and then come back and play it on Assault. Like, that seems kind of like an interesting way to add some longevity to the game if you're interested in, like, maximizing your potential.
Yeah, I just don't like it, though.
Fair enough. I haven't butted heads with any issues of it so far, but I'm also
There's
less
no
discerning.
issues with it, but it's like the gaming equivalent of gruel to me. And like, I just got served like a 5-course dinner with Breath of the Wild, and I was just like, oh, eat this fucking slop.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think I'm just a less discerning stealth player just because I play so few of those games. Like, that's the only thing I can attribute it to, because it genuinely seemed interesting to me when they were explaining it to me. So I guess I'm a basic bitch when it comes to stealth.
I mean, it's more fun to be a basic bitch than to be me, so...
what were you saying?
I really want to play Panther, but you get more points for Ghost, so...
What do the points even do, though? Does that
translates directly to money.
Okay. Well, okay, so here's another thing, though. I guess a little inside baseball for our listenership. I bought a copy, but Amazon severely underestimated the time it would take to ship. So it's not actually showing up until next week.
Oh, wow.
But Greyson has a second Uplay account that has a second copy of this game for some reason. So he's like, oh, here, just log in and play my old Uplay account. So in the interim, I'm playing Greyson's first copy of Splinter Cell Conviction, and you have all these like exclusive DLC items, and I'm using all my willpower to not like get this like just like 5th echelon gear and shit. Basically, it's like I hover over it, and all the stat meters are like quadruple what they're at currently. And I'm like, I could just do that, but then it'll probably be boring. So it's
that's
kind
actually what I've been doing.
Is playing with the DLC items.
Yeah. And I still care about the money, so I can get, like, tri-rotor upgrades.
Okay. How often are you using the tri-rotor?
Never.
Okay.
But, like,
cool.
I have maxed out sonar goggles. That's pretty great.
Nice. Yeah, there's a pair of goggles that, like, you get for playing the mobile game that came out at the same time as this. Yeah, that sounds atrocious. But yeah, so, like, my understanding of the economy of this game is like completely out of whack because I have like all this shit that's already bought and unlocked from Greyson's previous playthrough. So the score is not really like the score is literally just it's no different to me than getting like an S rank in an action game. Like I'm not viewing it from a moniker.
It's extremely important.
Well, I'm trying to get 100% on Panther, but I guess this is the one... I can't tell if I've decided yet whether or not I consider it a problem or just something I need to adapt my playstyle in light of. But if you're playing Panther and you miss an enemy, then it counts as a ghost... it counts as ghost points because they're undisturbed.
Not if they find a corpse and they go onto, like, alert mode.
Okay.
But then is that Predator or Panther?
It remains Panther, yeah.
It's Panther if they aren't, like, openly aggressive, if they're just, like, in the searching stage.
Okay.
Which, like, that's another thing. The stealth indicator in this game doesn't really clearly indicate when you've made people curious without making them go, like, full alarm state.
Well, I mean, that's usually handled by, like, the call-outs they'll do. They'll be like, oh, it's awesome, I'm gonna go drive out.
Yeah, but sometimes they're not speaking English, so that's not so helpful.
What, you don't know Farsi?
Yeah, what the heck, man?
I'm gonna play a Splinter Cell game, I'm not gonna know Farsi.
Fair enough, that's my bad. I'm playing on realistic, so I can subtitle it.
He's playing, you're playing Crisis on hard mode, don't know Korean.
Yeah. So yeah, that throws me off sometimes where I can't quite tell if I've, like, aggroed someone or they're just gonna come search where they thought they saw me, but, yeah, I definitely have parts where I'll clear through to the next checkpoint and then it's like 8,000 ghost points. And I'm like, fuck, I guess I, like, accidentally walked past a room where I guess if I wanted to get the best score, what I was supposed to do is come in and backstab everybody in that room, even though it's not actually advantageous to the mission to do. So as I'm saying this, I'm now coming to the conclusion that yes, I think this is a problem with the Panther system, is you are not rewarded for circumventing things in the most logical way. You're rewarded for circumventing things in the most stealthy and murderous way, which is like, it's like the text of the law, but not the spirit of the law.
Yeah, like there's nothing kind of in between Ghost and Panther where that would, like, help either.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they give you 3 main options, but you have to do some kind of stupid things to get all, like, to just only go in one.
You have to pick, like, 2 and stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can be like Panther and Assault.
Or Panther.
Which is basically Bad Panther.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what it boils down to now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, if you're good at Panther, you're going to get a lot of Panther points and some Ghost points because you just happen to miss guys. And if you're bad at it, you're going to get a decent amount of Panther points and a lot of Assault points because people caught you while you're trying to be stealthy.
Yeah, and it feels like Panther is just kind of the middle of the road. Like, that's what I end up doing because, you know, for different reasons, I'm also going for the efficiency route. And just, like, doing it to get it all done, man. But, yeah, just... Like, I really liked the original Splinter Cells after a certain point because they were about stealth. Like, if you got in a gunfight, you had fucked up.
You should play this on realistic, Brett, because I get fucked up so fast in gunfights, it's not even funny.
Like,
yeah.
If
like
you get in open
hits,
combat, you're done.
2 hits, no joke, on almost every weapon, I'm dead.
Okay.
I think you should 100% switch after this. I think you'll have a lot more fun.
Like, you have to take guys on one-on-one, or you have to be marking and executing, or you're done.
If I fully aggro, 9 times out of 10... excuse me, sorry. 9 times out of 10, I'm restarting at checkpoint because it's faster than fighting for a quarter of a second and watching the death animation and then reloading the checkpoint.
Okay, I mean, that actually does kind of change my opinion on things a bit. Because, like, the original Splinter Cells were always just like, oh, you got in combat? Like, sometimes it would just be a game over. Like, if you got into any combat whatsoever.
Even just on the base difficulties, that's how it was?
The base difficulties would usually give you more chances.
Okay.
But, it, like, on easy, if you were caught 3 times, you were fucking done.
That's another thing. We're kind of jumping around a ton, but it's just because there's so many different systems in this game, so I feel like we'll kind of gain our footing a little more in the second and third episodes when we've covered a little bit of this stuff, but, like, this game does a really great job of articulating what the difficulty levels do, which almost 0 games have ever done. And I really appreciate that.
Like, Perfectionist, your sonar doesn't see through walls.
Yeah, it outlines specific rule changes for every difficulty, and it doesn't just say, like, it's harder. It says, like, enemies will spot you twice as fast when you're in their line of sight. And
it gives you, like, kind of numerical values rather than...
Not always numerical.
I didn't really look at it.
It says... I don't think it says twice as fast, but it says, like, enemies spot you faster. And I played the tutorial mission on normal at first and switched to realistic halfway through, and it feels about twice as fast. But, like, you know, when it's, like, beeping and you have that white crescent that fills, like, that process is... If somebody spots me, it's maybe 3/4 of a second that I can be exposed.
And then you have, like, a quarter second before it pings and you're aggroed.
Yeah, which that thing is so loud and obnoxious when it's beeping at you. It's more stressful than the Metal Gear exclamation point sound, which at the time seemed really over the top. They managed to one-up that, I guess. But yeah, I love when games actually tell you what the fuck the difficulty modes do. And I especially love when games have difficulty modes that they put thought into and like put rule changes into instead of just like, you do half as much damage and they have twice as much health.
Yeah, I hate those. Dragon's Dogma had kind of an interesting one in that hard mode was meant for like New Game Plus.
Okay.
That was cool.
What were the changes? Just like more health?
More health, more damage.
Okay.
And they would also drop like better loot.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I always like.
Give that a shot.
Okay.
But the engineers, their goal is to get the United States to bring all its troops home.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. Like, that actually kind of sounds like a realistic premise for a terrorist plot. Like, that's a reasonable plea. Like, America being, like, the self-proclaimed babysitters of the third world. Like, I understand why you could, or it makes sense that you could kind of build a tenuous explanation for why this is a terrorist plot. It's better than what a lot of spy flicks do.
Yeah, it seems like it's just the general frustrations of the public finally given a voice.
Yeah.
So, like, it kind of, in a weird way, makes you sympathetic to the fucking terrorists.
Yeah, when I was hearing it, when they do that, like, kind of manifesto off the top from the engineers, or, like, right after the intro level, and the whole time I was kind of thinking, like, yeah, this sounds alright.
Their timeline's a little unreasonable, but...
Well, yeah.
I think it kind of have to be.
Like 3 days?
One Pearl Harbor every week.
Yeah.
If you don't pull your troops back.
And the last one it said, like, American dust. So that's probably...
So the first one is American consumption.
Yep.
And
which, of course, ends up being a water plant because the engineers are cheeky little fuckheads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first mission, actually, now that I think about it, that we had a nighttime stealth sequence. Which is weird because whenever I think of Splinter Cell, I think of nighttime, like 100%, which is... You'd think would be more common for stealth, but like that really is like a quintessential Splinter Cell thing. Like Metal Gear, you're very rarely, in fact, out during the nighttime.
Yeah, I think MGS3 and MGS1. No, I mean
MGS1 at the beginning it's nighttime, but you're indoors for 90% of it.
Yeah.
But like 2 and 3 and 4, it's almost always daytime in those games.
Yeah, I don't think MGS2 is ever night. I think it ends at, like, sunset.
the tanker sequence is at night, too.
Oh, that's true.
But that's mostly indoor anyway.
Yeah, and it's also, like, 10% of the game. But yeah, like, I mean, Splinter Cell, the most iconic element is the night vision goggles, so that kind of says everything right there. And yet, the first, like, 2 hours of this game were, like, out in, like, sandy, like, desert locations, basically. And it's daytime.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really have a problem with. It just, I wasn't expecting it.
I really like Chaos Theory's first level.
Okay.
Which is like, it's kind of like Ground Zeroes-esque.
Okay.
You know,
just like a big camp.
Well, it's very rainy and it's at night.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of climbing up a mountain. You're fucking with tents and shit. Like the thing I liked more about Splinter Cell back then is that it was like, we've introduced a new feature. You can cut open the backs of tents.
You can do that in this.
I know, but like that back then, that was like, ooh.
Oh, okay.
Like that was like a big deal. It was like, oh, we're enhancing your stealth options, and this is just like.
I didn't think it was cool because I didn't play that other Splinter Cells.
Well, back then it was like a huge deal because it was like the fabricated physics.
That's true. The fabric physics in this game are like fabric physics are still not ubiquitously good in games. So I would still say this game hangs pretty well in the pantheon of fabric physics.
But back then I liked it.
Yeah.
So, what is up with the design of Chicago in this game? There's a shopping mall right next to a water treatment plant.
Oh, I didn't even really think about that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's Navy Pier, apparently.
Yeah, you start out in, like you said, the shopping mall, and it's like
Santa song.
Yeah, it's all decked out for Christmas, which I kind of wish more of the level took place in the mall because it's really creepy, like with all the lights out, and there's
the
just
song.
like, yeah, it's just singing about like the joys of Christmas, but it's really faint in the distance.
And you're fucking killing people.
Yeah, you're slitting throats and stuff, and there's just like guards patrolling these dark hallways with flashlights.
So these guards have some pretty fun dialogue. You wanna put on a little radio play?
Yeah. I've been drinking this new protein drink, bro, and it's been adding muscle. It's been adding muscle like you wouldn't believe.
You get it at the health food store?
Nah, the health food stuff is for pussies. All me. I've been going pure paleo, bro, and I don't even cook it. Can't damage that sweet protein.
Hunt all that meat yourself?
I go on every chance I get, bro. You should come sometime, bro. Bro.
And then in another conversation, this is like that game my kid has where you take hostages and rob a bank.
Why do you let your kid play violent video games like that, man? It's gonna fuck him up. I feel like every game has to have that joke in the last 15 years of like...
XCOM had it.
Yeah, like there's always some reference, like one character thinks violent video games are bad and the other character like, nah, man, they're cool.
Man,
That's not...
you guys remember Jack Thompson?
Who?
Neither of you remember Jack Thompson?
Is this a real person? Or...
Yes, he was the guy against video games.
Oh, the lawyer.
Yeah.
No, because I never really paid attention to that stuff.
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
nonsense.
He like ran the foundation for the family or something.
Yeah, he fucking hated video games, and then like he got disbarred for it. Like he lost his license to practice law
Because he brought
hated
so many
video games.
frivolous lawsuits.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was a happy ending. But yeah, the guard dialogue is pretty cringeworthy. I don't hear it that much because I'm usually shooting people with silenced pistols.
Oh, like when I heard that, I started laughing because I was like, "This guy is such a meathead."
I feel like that is probably one of the unspoken cornerstones of game quality. Is like, how laughable are your idling enemies? Like it's definitely an art to it.
Do you ever feel bad for killing the guys in the game? Like, being
No.
Panther mode?
No, I mean, they're explicitly murdering innocent civilians because of the policy of their government that they don't even like.
But they're adorable.
The guys in the mall, I was like, these guys don't need to die. But once I got into the tunnels and, like, there was that guy just, like, terrorizing the hostages, I was like, yep, he can die.
I
care with
didn't see that. I think I might have aggroed, like, in the room before that, so
Okay.
it changed up the patterns.
He's, like, walking around. There's, like, this woman, she's crying because they broke her husband's arm, and he's like, yeah, that man can't take care of you. I'll take good care of you. I was like, you can die.
Yeah, that's unsettling. Jeez. I'm
a real man.
I felt weird. I'm a real man. I felt weird about not being able...
Sam Fisher goes down and I can take care of it.
This strange man with an assault rifle can't take care of you like I can. Proceeds to break the husband's other arm.
Anyway, I want a mission. I'll be right back.
Well, that's the thing. You can't free the civilians. I feel so weird. Like, I'm literally walking 10 feet in front of them, just be like, okay, have a good day.
You didn't see me.
I'll come back for you later. I don't have time for that.
Did you ever... Were you frustrated by the actual water treatment plant segment where you had to go between the two areas?
Frustrated in what way?
So, it's broken up into two parts.
Yeah, you come out in, basically the control deck, and then there's two bays of
And then there's
water.
the third part.
With the tube, or the valve thing?
Yeah, and it's on one side. So, the first time I did this full ghost.
Yeah.
So the first time I went to the left side where that valve is first. And then I had to cross over again.
Yes.
And then I aggroed someone on that third part.
I understand what you mean now, because I always went to the right first. So when I finished the left side, I just went to the valve right there. So yeah, I didn't even think about that.
This is one of the parts I liked because you actually had to think.
But also, the 10 minutes until it's lethal. And then I got it done at 7 minutes and it's too much, you gotta shut it down.
Well, yeah, nobody can estimate anything. Well, I just found it, I wish they had come up with literally any other explanation. They only turn the valves on every 10 minutes, so that's how long we have until the next cycle or something. Because, really? 9 minutes and 59 seconds of lethal bacteria being pumped into the water supply? That's manageable. But if it hits 10 minutes, we're going to have a PR nightmare.
I mean, if it was a chemical weapon, I'd understand. Bacteria, you're rolling the dice. Chemicals, there's a lethal amount.
Yeah, but they say it's like a bioagent.
Yeah, it's... They have a name for it. It's not a real disease.
Okay.
It's like scarlet something.
Yeah, I think they...
Scarlet fever.
I think they mentioned that, somebody in the engineers, invented the strand or something like that.
Yeah, they're
And so, of course,
we're
we
looking
know
at
all about it.
70,000 casualties, and then other guy's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is, every low-level grunt guard has, random... They, read the wiki of their corporation for 5 minutes so they could pull out, top-level info on the diseases and stuff they're designing.
And these guys...
Bro, this protein stuff, it attaches to your actual, protein cells, bro. It's fucking nuts, man. It's like H1N1 2, man.
Brett, have you thought about applying for voice acting?
I actually have. I really want to.
Meat-headed guard 3.
Yes.
So
Meat-bodied. It's just one giant splat like a T-bone with an assault rifle and
Yeah, tiny head.
Yeah.
how do you guys feel about the heavy guards?
They're alright.
They take 3 headshots to kill. That's my feeling on the heavy guns.
You can get on top of them or behind them, I'm pretty sure. And
I can get on top or behind anybody.
Melee kills are easy, except
Sam
I feel
Fisher.
like they have a wider range of vision than normal guards.
well, it's because their helmets are so big.
The helmets have like the
rear
field
view
of
mirrors.
view that are what is it, like the lens width? It's like a fisheye lens on front of their mask. If I can melee them, that's nice because they go down just as easy. And
You can't melee them from the front, though.
Yeah, they'll push
True.
you and hurt you.
I don't think I've ever tried meleeing anyone from the front. If somebody's facing me, I'm shooting them in said face.
It's a good idea.
Do you use
Good
the
policy.
lethal melee or the non-lethal melee?
I'm
Self-explanatory.
I'm Panther, so yeah, lethal. I didn't. A weird issue that won't happen to 90% of people that play this game occurred to me because of this system, and also because of a poorly laid out menu in settings. There's a part where you can change like HUD options, and when you have things set to on, it looks like you have them set to off.
Oh.
So I shut all the HUD elements off accidentally. And I played the first, 2 minutes of the intro sequence with no problems. It's just like, oh, you crash into the river, you climb up, you go over, you go cover to cover to cover to cover, and then there's 2 dudes. He's like, alright, Sam, let's take him out. Let's get him, Sam. And I'm like, hitting every button. Sam, get that guy, and I'll get the other guy. Sam. Come on, Sam. And it turns out that I was supposed to be holding tab to bring up the weapon wheel and then hitting B to switch to the other attack type.
Yeah.
Which, when you're trying to do a melee takedown, your first thought is not hold tab and press B and then press E. So I was pressing every key on the keyboard. I'm like, I know I bound melee to E. Why isn't it working? So then I went into that menu and flipped it all back around. It's like, oh wow, there's so much information here I wasn't getting before. And there's the prompts. So they don't even show you the tutorial prompts of how to bring up the weapon wheel if you turn off the HUD. So that was weird. But, I haven't switched back to non-lethal melee since then.
I do non-lethal because I find it really funny how Sam just basically walks up to someone, presses his arm against their throat, and then they're knocked out. Sometimes he gets some punches.
Yeah.
And he punches them in the throat, and it's like, okay, sure.
Did you feel like the whole Iraq mission was kind of unnecessary?
Yeah.
Is that the
It
first
ends
one?
with the drone strike.
Yeah. It could have been
kinda
shorter. The one thing I liked was they threw in a couple sequences of you're doing the sniping as the honest guy.
Really?
So my issue with it is I was never doing it fast enough. You're just supposed to go from one to the next right away. But I was
I kind of took it slow. I was watching to see which way they were facing.
yeah.
Because if they're looking at someone you shoot, then the egg grows and then the whole mission's failed.
I failed that about 7 times.
Oh wow. Okay, I failed it once.
I shot him in the head and I won.
Yeah.
That one game.
The one thing I didn't like is you're so far away that there's a lot of latency to the shot. You're literally a mile away when you're sniping them, so you have to lead the target.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool. And then you have the drone sequence where you
The tri-rotor or whatever?
yeah, which I immediately fucked that up. I bumped into some guy's head and then he swatted it down. Did a
And
little
then
bit
it's Sam Fisher's just staring at his iPad
President, can we get 50 more bucks? We have to buy a new drone.
Amazon
Sam, those things cost $300,000.
Well, we have $300,000 minus 50 bucks because I bought an upgrade for my goggles earlier, so it was just under.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, that mission was to me it was 30 minutes of gameplay so that they could justify giving you a little teaser of the big bad, which really
was
is a little
kind of cool.
Yeah, you get him torturing and then slitting the throat of a detained U.S. soldier, and He's ex-MI6 also. It seems
Yeah, there's
like
a lot of MI6 guys.
British people are just evil.
I think everyone in MI6. What year did this game come out? 2011.
2012, something.
2012. Everyone that worked in MI6 in 2011 quit and joined the engineers. Is basically my understanding of this so far. And then they moved to the Middle East.
It's more comfortable there.
Yeah.
That mission just kind of felt like filler to me.
Yeah. But then you get the final mission at the private estate.
I liked this one because there were plenty of options.
Yeah, this was one of the more open levels. It's actually been getting progressively more open because
it feels like they're starting to take you seriously around this point.
Yeah, like I remember thinking when you first start American Consumption and you're in the mall area, like, oh, okay, now this is like a sandbox. This isn't just us going down hallways, which, like, as somebody who's playing through it for the first time, and this illusion is stronger, they didn't feel, or they didn't appear to be hallways, but I could kind of gauge that there wasn't a whole lot going on outside of what I was seeing. They just did a decent enough job of the set dressing to not make it extremely visually obvious. But now it feels mechanically open as well as visually.
Yeah, like the end of this is where I started getting to be a little bit more like, okay, well,
yeah,
this is a game now.
The dogs add a nice level of dynamism.
Yeah, I have a hard time with them. They end up spotting me more than the guards.
It's important to change levels vertically to avoid them.
Oh, or they're bad at like.
Well, they'll follow you, but they can't chase you down. So like the guys are like, "Where'd you go? What's up, boy?"
Yeah, that's the problem. Is if one guard notices you, he won't necessarily bring a bunch of other people. Sometimes they will bring somebody standing right next to them to investigate, which most stealth games don't even do that. So that's something, I guess. But if a dog thinks that you might exist, suddenly everyone in the fucking level is like, "Oh, you hear something, boy? Oh, Stan Fisher's here. Let's all go. Show me where he is." And it's like, all right, I guess I got this fucking parade hunting me down now.
Do you like the bag and tag thing?
Oh, the high value targets. I forgot about
those. Are all right. I don't think there's like huge additions or anything.
It's just something of like
nice
a pacing check.
Challenge.
Yeah, because you have to, or at least for me, like if you were playing this game Ghost, it would probably just be like, okay, business as usual. But because I'm killing everyone, it's suddenly like, oh wait, slow down. I have to find a way to get this guy isolated so that I can hold him and tie him up.
So playing Ghost, you're not even trying to knock people out. You're trying to like get through level with people undisturbed.
Yeah.
Because that's like 600 points per person.
Yeah.
As opposed to like 135
Yeah.
for knocking them out.
Yeah. Also, you get a points multiplier for being unrealistic and a bigger one for being on the hardest difficulty, which...
Oh, nice.
Perfectionist, which if you get spotted, it's just done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, I forgot about that detail. Yeah. Okay.
So you can't play that one combat at all?
You can play a Panther if you're good at Panther.
Okay. So it just obviates one of the entire ways of playing?
Arguably the least fun way of playing.
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm not saying that it's fun.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you kind of touched on this during the first half of the show, of you having a tendency not to, like, make your own fun out of situations where you could necessarily take a path of least resistance. Which I guess is kind of the double-edged sword of this design philosophy. But, like, I think for most people, it's to their benefit. Like, I think basically what they were thinking when they designed the 3 playstyle system is like, let's still have old school Splinter Cell in a game, but make it so you can spend $60 and get that and also like a tacky third person shooter in one bundle. That's probably why they just don't even let you play that on the hardest difficulty, because they're basically thinking like, if you pick in the hardest difficulty, you want something like Splinter Cell 1.
Alright.
That's kind of how I interpret it anyway. But that I was thinking a few minutes ago, like, oh, maybe I'll switch to the hardest difficulty because I'm already pretty much avoiding combat. But if I have to restart every time instantly, then I might stay on realistic, because once in a blue moon, I manage to handle a combat encounter. Like when we're breaking out of the estate and you've got the do we know what that faction is?
They say their name like once. Like
they're like the Iranian
Oxos
Guards or something.
Oxes?
Okay,
like,
yeah.
There was some
They're from Iran, but yeah, basically the guy, who are we trying to get? Some mercenary?
Just some
guy.
arms dealer?
Bad man.
No, he's not an arms dealer.
Naomi.
Kobin is the arms dealer.
This guy just sells soldiers.
Nuri.
Nuri, yeah.
Nuri. He basically is like a colleague of Kobin, the arms dealer. He deals in mercenaries.
Yeah.
And I guess the Iranians, a lot of people hate this guy, so we just barely beat them. They swarm into the building after, well, I guess not everyone. After I personally freshly killed all the guards, so I made their job nice and easy.
Which they show no respect for.
If you go through this level Ghost, are there still guards when
The guards get killed, like, there's video of them just dying.
That would actually be really fucking cool.
Yeah,
if
that would be cool.
The second half of this level is you, like, kind of choreographing the two factions fighting one another so that you can sneak out while they're distracted.
Well, I mean, ideally, you wouldn't even need to choreograph them because you have their leader with you.
Yeah.
I like the trump card in the safe room, where it's just like, I can wait.
Yeah. His quote-unquote torture is sitting on the couch bored because he knows that the Iranians are just going to show up if Sam Fisher doesn't save him. This game's funnier than I thought it was going to be. There's a decent amount of wisecracks in it that don't feel inappropriate. They're welcome, I would say. But yeah, the working my way out of the estate, I actually got into some gunfights because you have a very little leeway. Like, they're basically right on top of you as soon as you regain control coming out of the safe house.
You can probably sneak out that way, but it would probably be a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was more than I was capable of doing.
I was able to bypass, like, 4 of them, but it's just their patrols are, like, right in the way, so I had to kill a few.
Yeah, well, it's such an enclosed space. I mean, you're in a house as opposed to, like, a mall or a water treatment facility, so you got thinner hallways, you got fewer rooms.
They got night vision goggles.
Yeah, although...
They're evil versions of you.
Yeah, they're red night vision goggles. It didn't really seem like the night vision goggles did anything for them, because they didn't seem to have more stealth awareness than anybody else. Like, for the first 3 seconds where I was sneaking, I didn't...
Well, actually, yeah, it kind of just hurts them, because you can see them in the night really easily.
Yeah, which... I love how the stealth indicator in this game for you being in the shadows is your armor glows more.
What the fuck?
That is a nice visual cue, but also in contrast with a lot of the other stuff we've been talking about the menus, makes no sense in the canon of this game. It's like if every time you entered the shadows, this like loudspeaker played out of your suit. It was like stealth mode initiating.
It's like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
And all the guards were like, what the fuck was that? Oh, Sam Fisher's here. He's probably over there. It sounded like it came from that way.
Now,
oh, there's the green glow.
What do you know how at the beginning of every mission, somebody's always second-guessing you, and you can hold the mission?
Oh my god, yes, thank you for bringing up the launch mission screen. This is my favorite part of the game by far. Every time, I'm taking little notes to kind of keep track of the plot and that kind of thing, because there's kind of a lot of information being doled out, at least in the early parts of this game. A lot of characters that are new to me and that kind of thing. But every time you get into... You pick a mission from the menu, and you get, like, the kind of briefing, and everyone's arguing, because everyone has a different opinion about how we're supposed to do it. And then, yeah, like you said, Grayson, somebody turns to Sam, and they're like, are we doing this or not? And then it's just... And he's just, like, nervously looking to the left and to the right. And if you let it hang, like, you can just leave it at that screen for as long as you want. And he just looks around, and everyone's waiting for his response for him to say, are we going on this mission?
And you can hold, like, the second option would seem to be the hold mission option. But then he's just like, let's do this briefing again.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I'm taking notes on stuff, and every time that screen comes up, that's when it's the most convenient time for me to take notes. I'm like, and this is what we're going to do on this mission. And it's 4 minutes of him, like, looking left and right, while everyone is hanging on his every word.
Jesus.
It's fun.
So, yeah, it's a good game. I liked that in the private estate, you turn on your sonar goggles and there's just this big box.
Oh, yeah, you can... For some reason, the
safe room is titanium plated.
Oh,
which
right.
makes it noisy?
It's, like, impervious to sounds.
Oh, so we're seeing the sound reflect off of...
like a bat.
Okay. Well, that's one thing that's kind of weird, is, like, you'd think you'd be able to see at least stuff in close proximity to you when you're wearing the sonar, because the wall would be pushing sound off of you. But it's literally just black. I don't know. I don't know how sonar works in goggle form, so...
It doesn't work against drywall, I guess.
Yeah. We need to build all of our stealth suits out of drywall.
Oh, comfy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we got up to is rescuing Mr. Mercenary Man. And what is our current breadcrumb? Where are we going next? I don't remember.
I think we followed his phone, and that led us somewhere.
Yes, he gave us the records. He gave us the passport numbers and stuff of all the mercenaries he sold to the guy that we're looking for.
I think we're going to Tehran next.
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna say this earlier, and then we got sidetracked. But my main complaint with this so far is that the story is so slapdash so far. Like, it feels like we're basically. Like, it almost feels more like it's trying to be a TV show than a movie right now, because we're jumping over here and we're meeting this bad guy for 5 seconds, and we're jumping over here and we're meeting this bad guy for 5 seconds, then we meet this old friend, and then they're out of the picture. It's like, it doesn't feel
it's just
like
jerking you around.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck it. Oh, over here, fuck it. Oh, over here, fuck it.
It kind of feels like they're trying to, inundate the player with, all this intrigue, so it feels like, oh yeah, there's all these machinations going on, there's this big scheme. But the plot's not actually so far anyway complicated. There's just a lot of it, and it's not connected logically very smoothly.
Like, if it was part of the game to puzzle out where you should go next, that would be a bit more interesting, and it would let you spend some time with the plot. Yeah. But as is, all of this shit just rolls off my back, and I'm just so I'm going to shoot someone or take someone.
Also,
they're talking a lot, but they're not saying much.
Yeah.
Briggs and Grimm are way too salty about you, trashing the San Antonio decision and actually going to the right one in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Grimm, or Briggs especially, is kind of a government lapdog. He really, it seems like he kind of wants to rise the corporate chain, so he doesn't want to piss anybody off. So I guess that kind of makes sense. I haven't really gotten a feel for what Grimm's prerogative is so far.
She doesn't really like Sam anymore.
Yeah. She seems cool, but yeah, they don't seem to get along very well. Every time you talk to her in between missions, you get about 3 seconds of dialogue from her, and she's like, okay, I'm pretty fucking busy, Sam. Okay, bye. And then you go talk to your daughter, and she's scared.
Yeah.
Oh, the daughter is a nice thing. I wish I had talked to her more, because it gives you an idea of what's going on the home front.
Yeah, I actually forgot to do that this time.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite details. It grounds things. It's actually kind of the antidote to the thing we were just talking about, Brett, of, she kind of distills the public perspective of all this chaos, and you just kind of get, the ethos of it.
Dad, are you part of this 6th echelon?
No, honey, I'm already on the 7th echelon. We talked about this.
I got a promotion.
It'd be great if, every time you, level up, you get another echelon. You, scrap the last organization.
I'm the 17th echelon. I cannot say words before echelon for some reason. The 17th echelon.
It's retroactively messing up pronunciation.
Yeah. It's an impressive word.
But yeah, so that's all we've covered so far. I didn't do any side missions. It sounds like a lot of them are 2-player co-op.
You can play them all single player, you can play them all co-op.
Okay, that's cool. So yeah, we should try out some of those things, because I'm interested to see how that works.
I'm not sure how they work, though. One person it's Briggs and Sam, Charlie and Sam, and Grimm and Sam. I don't know if you end up playing as Grimm.
How would you do a Charlie and Sam mission? Because he doesn't do field work, right?
Maybe he controls the drone.
It's Super Mario Galaxy.
That would... You're waving your cursor around to pick up corpses. Yeah, that would be cool though. The drone comment, Brett, of it being almost a little bit like the Spec Ops mission.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. That was the coolest one, easily.
AC-130 kind of stuff.
But that's why that game was good. Because of those. There's 2 of them.
I also really liked the America missions in that, the Washington, D.C.
They're fine.
Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, what is your name in those? Did they call out?
Ramirez,
yeah.
Ramirez. That game was fun.
And then they ruined it in 3
okay.
by only having, one mission in America.
I didn't like the multiplayer, but I enjoyed the campaign the first time.
Fucking bad.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to try more of those co-op, or any of those co-op missions, rather. And I do want to play some Spies vs. Mercs. We should try it, Brett. When I get my copy, you should play some on Greyson's old copy, because I think it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Spies. Because then even like 2v1 spies versus mercs works because of the way the spy is. Because like you can kill a merc and the mercs have like a 45-second respawn time.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, that'd be cool.
And they have way more ground to cover.
Yeah. Next week's Game Club will cover through Guantanamo Bay Detention Facility. All the level names are very utilitarian in this game.
Yeah.
Like, it always feels weird reading them out. That's how it is. That'll do it for another episode of Shareware. If you'd like to contribute your perspective to the upcoming Game Club segment or respond to any other topics, feel free to send us an email at sharewarepodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at SharewarePod or check out the Shareware Podcast YouTube and Facebook pages. This has been Josh,
Brett,
And Grayson.
have a good one.
Hey! 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 Hey!
look at me.
Only Kyber's dog can send it to you.
Look at me. Grayson? Look at me.
You're not Kyber's dog.
Grayson? Look at me. Grayson? Look at me.
Throw that at me, it's covered in onions.
Yeah, it is.
I don't eat onions.
I do it now. Oh, we're recording?
Yep. Welcome to Shareware Podcast.
Yeah, Shareware, Game Club, and whatever. Let's look at this receipt.
Alright.
JJ Gargantuan, cut in half. Total, $10.98. But I tipped $2, so it was actually $12.98.
Alright.
I'm a pretty nice guy.